Welcome everybody to Stranger Species, Season 2, episode, I actually have no idea.
Yeah, me either.
I think 31-ish.
I don't know. I can't help.
32-ish. I forgot to look, and I don't know. But welcome either way. We're glad you are here, and we're glad we're here. I'm your host, Mike Davis, here with the lovely one and only Anthony Davis.
Hello, hello.
Yay.
Woohoo.
How are you doing tonight?
Oh, great. It's been a really awesome weekend.
Yeah, it has been a good weekend.
Yep.
Beautiful weather.
So much sun.
A lot of sun. We had 60-degree last day of February, which is unheard of here.
Yeah. Yep. We have.
I think the average is about 42.
I believe you. Yeah. It was awesome. Like, it doesn't feel at all like the last day of February. But
No. I'm a little worried about the orchards around here. We talked about this a little bit yesterday. That they're going to think it's spring. They're going to start blossoming, and then we're going to get a nasty freeze and kill all the fruit.
That's what happened
Well, not
last
the fruit,
year.
but the blossoms.
Well, ultimately.
Which will kill the fruit, yeah.
That's what happened last year with the peaches. So that was sort of sad.
Yeah.
There was like nowhere.
So I'm hoping that doesn't happen. But hey, if it wants to stay warm, we will take that.
Yeah. But we know for sure that there's no chance of that. It'll be like 3 different springs.
As long as it doesn't get bitterly cold.
This is like fall spring 1.
It's definitely fall spring.
And then we're going to have fall spring 2. And then we'll have probably real spring after
But it was
that.
false enough spring that we put a pickleball court on our driveway.
Yeah. And we've had like the whole neighborhood playing pickleball.
Yeah. And by the whole neighborhood, just all of the kids.
No, we even had like Megan come down. And,
That's true. Megan did come down.
like Andy checked it out and
Right.
Dave was over for a
That's
second.
true. That's true.
Just checking it
So
out.
lots of people did check it out.
A lot of
Well, everyone in our neighborhood went for a walk yesterday.
Yeah.
And everyone stopped and
Yeah.
checked it out.
And they were like, this is so inspiring. And
You
made
just
them
got to
happy.
have a 60-foot yard, whatever, driveway.
Yeah, I mean, it's not fun to shovel, especially when your
But it's great when you have the snow like this year.
lawnmower is broken.
Yeah.
And you have to break all your shovels to shovel it.
If you're wondering what that means, we have a snow shovel on our lawnmower.
Oh, yeah. It's like a little tractor.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we put a blade on it. But we didn't really have to use it this year until a couple
Just
weeks
once.
ago. And then it wouldn't work.
It wouldn't
and
start.
We just need a new battery. But essentially, we were in a pickle and we had to shovel our entire driveway in a
Yeah.
lot of snow. So,
That
but anyway,
is what happened.
It's been one of those weekends where soccer hasn't started, the mayhem of real life. And so it's actually like the days felt
We actually surprisingly had nothing to do yesterday.
like time. It was awesome. Like
we
that's
got done
never our
playing
lives.
some pickleball, and I was like kind of tired, and I was like, man, and it was like 2:30. It wasn't even
Yeah,
really
it was
close.
amazing.
like the boys went over to the park to play kickball, and they're like, how long do we have until dinner? I'm like, dude, it's only like 2:00. You got all the time in the world.
Well, and I mean, I've already worked in the garden. I've already done, some winter cleanup stuff. It's just been,
Been great.
It's been awesome. So I like it when the weekend actually kind of feels like it lingered a little. And I think it's only because we had 0 commitments, which is literally never a thing.
Does not happen very often.
So, yeah, it was good. Really good. Even today has felt like
Yeah.
a long day,
I
not
would
just
agree.
whiz by. So, that being said, to kind of have some kids that are feeling funky. By funky, I mean it's like kind of not themselves, but kind of not fully sick. So, like low-grade headaches, like mild headaches, low-grade fever, kind of sort of lethargic, kind of tummy aches, but nothing like no like high fevers, no dramatic.
Our oldest son, when he's sick because he chills out a lot.
Yeah, he even
And you can
leaned on me.
definitely tell today. Actually, last night he was cold.
Yeah.
Which is never he literally goes to school outside. Like he's part of,
An outside program.
it's called outdoor school. And they don't have a building. They go outside, wintertime and everything. And he wears shorts all year long.
Yeah, the fact that he was cold.
So he was cold and wrapped up in a blanket. We're like, ooh, you are getting sick.
Yeah. And he actually kind of snuggled with me today at church. And I even looked over at my daughter and I was like, it was awesome.
No one can see what you're doing, but
Well, she knew right away what I meant.
Right.
Oh, I was
Well,
just
you're
having...
pointing.
Yeah. I mean, I was like looking over her like, look at this. Like, look what's happening. And she knew like, whoa.
Yeah.
So I love it when he just is a little bit calm.
Yeah, I don't have very often.
Nope. But anyway, he's just not feeling too good. And Everett's had this lingering cough. And I don't know. They're just kind of like not fully.
But not enough to like not go to school or.
Yeah, no, nothing that would like. Oaksy was kind of that way earlier on in the week. It's just a weird kind of. I don't know what it is. I even tested them for COVID because I was like, well, maybe.
We've only got 75 COVID tests sitting around the house.
That's a bit dramatic. Maybe like 7. But yeah, probably more than that. Maybe 17.
Yeah, they were mailing them out here.
Oh, left and right.
During
But they're probably
COVID.
expired, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, maybe they still work, but they didn't have a positive. But you could still see the control line. It's just like a pregnancy test. It's kind of funny.
That is true.
Anyway, so I don't know what it is, but it's strange.
Yeah.
That's my only kind of complaint.
Yeah, your car died.
Oh, well, your car died.
My car died. Our car died.
Our cars are right
Our
off.
other car.
Yeah.
We both have our cars.
commuter car that we love. It's a hybrid and it's so good on gas. And it's just,
It's not good on gas anymore.
it's dead.
It's dead.
Yeah. It's like $11,000, I think, to fix.
Yeah.
And
Not worth it.
not worth it. Nope. It has a lot of miles on it and it's definitely way more than it's worth. So we have to say goodbye, which we were going to sell it basically anyway here in the next couple months. And so I'm kind of sad that we didn't sell it before.
No, I'm glad we didn't sell it.
Well, I would have felt bad, but
Yeah.
I mean, so maybe someone else would have caught the issue. You know what I mean? Who's more
Yeah.
savvy.
I mean, maybe. I never once. It was like fine. And then just one day driving to work, it's like the engine. Well, the transmission went out.
But he said something got loose.
Something came loose.
Came
yeah.
loose and like got into the transmission.
He explained it all.
And
I
so
really
I'm
wasn't listening
I'm just
that
wondering
closely
if someone
'cause-
out there who like does more regular tune-ups or checks things that they know what they're looking for would have
Yeah,
caught
maybe.
it and then it would have been just
That's
fine,
true.
you know? And so, anyway.
But so that was sad. But it's all good. Life goes on.
I guess so.
I think it does. I don't
does.
think it's too tied down to
Yeah. No, it
the
goes.
state of that car.
No, it's not.
All right. Well, what do you think we're going to talk about tonight, Ethne?
I think we are going to talk about a sniper.
A sniper. That's cool thought.
Yep.
We watched
The Gorge.
The Gorge, the new Apple TV movie with Miles Teller and Anya Taylor-Joy.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
But
They're both snipers.
they are both snipers. But I also want my kids to watch The Accountant. And so that's also about a sniper.
Yeah, we
And so
saw a trailer. There's an Accountant 2 coming out if you're a fan
I
of
think that's
The
why
Accountant.
The Accountant came up. So anyway, that's why I think that.
Yeah, that'd be good. But no.
I never will get it, I'm sure.
But there was, when I was watching the trailer for the new Accountant,
yeah.
I did think about a really good sniper story
Oh.
that we could use on here.
Oh.
But that's not today.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. No worries.
Okay. I'm not going to tell you what we're talking about yet.
Oh, okay.
We're just going to get into it.
Sure. Yeah.
So, last year, about a year ago,
Okay.
we went to Universal Studios.
Yeah.
In Hollywood.
Mhm.
Not Florida. What was your favorite thing you did there?
Gosh. I think just because I've lived through Vienna's joy and love of Harry Potter and it's kind of trickled down, you know, to all the boys and stuff. I think Harry Potter Land with all of its things. So you get if you have the wand, you can go around to the different stations and actually wave your wand and it actually does things. Obviously like the butterbeer and all that fun stuff. The Three Broomsticks restaurant's got good food.
English breakfast was amazing.
Yeah. And obviously, I mean, my mother-in-law was appalled at its lack compared to the Florida one. But if you've never been to the Florida one,
it's a great start.
yeah, it's a good start. The ride, the one ride is really fun.
Unless you're me and you want to throw up on it.
Right. But it's a fun ride. And the queue waiting in line it's really magical.
It is insane, yeah.
And so all those little things, I think were probably my favorite, but I also love Jurassic Park just because, I mean, that's when we were kids. That was like huge, you know?
Yeah. I saw Jurassic Park in theaters, the original one, when it first came out. I was in 3rd grade.
It's kind of a big deal.
I went with my aunt and my 2 cousins.
But they've just made it even better where like the guy who had the tiny baby dinosaur that he was like making it like it was real and the kids got to pet it and
little raptor.
They didn't have that. You know, when we were kids, it's obviously whatever, but they've modified it too, even to incorporate the new movies, but it's just so nostalgic. I also love the just tour around Hollywood.
Yep, that's the correct answer.
Like, I love that one. It's so
the tram
fun.
ride
the
is
tram
the
ride
answer.
is well, there is no correct answer.
No, that's the correct answer.
Oh, okay. Well,
it's not the correct answer for everybody. That's the correct answer for you.
Oh,
that's what you told me 50,000 times. Was the tram ride?
Well, you have to ride the tram ride.
The tram ride is cool. No, all those things are amazing. You probably didn't particularly love Simpsons Land, but the kids and I really like Simpsons Land. The big donuts.
I mean, yeah, they were fun. I mean, The Simpsons or whatever. I think because, again, I was a young kid when I first came out, and I was kind of appalled by them.
I mean, my favorite
very
thing
violent.
of our whole trip was Oaksy winning.
Oh,
King Bob.
King Bob. Yeah, that is.
He won a Minion stuffed animal. It was like a giant. We probably talked about it on the show. It was a giant like Plinko board, and he paid like $1 to try it once, and he won the grand prize.
So he still loves his King Bob. So anytime he's allowed to have like a class stuffy party and bring a stuffed animal and a blanket, you know, like they do at parties every now and then, it's always King Bob. I mean, that's
pretty magical.
And he had him on the airplane and looking out the window on the way home.
They're showing him everything.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even just going down to, it's not downtown Disney, but it's kind of like downtown Disney.
That was super fun.
And the kids were just super silly in the candy store.
It's always fun
and
for
like
me.
The Mario Land. Mario Land. See? Okay, there's so many. I don't know. I just can't pick one. Because Mario Land was so fun.
Mario Land was pretty insane.
Like you're in the video game, you know, doing all the things. And the kids were jumping up, hitting the coin. And I mean, there's so many good things. Even with a broken eye, it was... We
got to see the stunt show. We were the only ones that got to see it that whole weekend we were there.
That's true. So Waterworld has a stunt show there if you haven't been. And it is incredible, the stunt show. Yeah. The kids were very impressed. They wanted to do it again. But actually, we were the only ones that got to do that show.
Only did it once the whole weekend?
Yeah.
Because of technical difficulties.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's focus on the tram ride for our discussion today.
Okay. Sounds good.
But yeah, it's all wonderful.
It's fun.
Yeah, it was my first time ever going. So it was super fun exploring all the stuff.
Did we not go in Osaka?
No.
Oh.
We did not.
Okay.
I think we felt bad.
Well, because they were going to pay for everything.
Right.
Yeah.
I've
I've been in Osaka,
everything.
though.
Right.
Yeah. And I had been to California before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Multiple. Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah.
So the tram ride.
Mm-hmm.
So Universal Studios is an actual studio lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So the amusement park's up kind of on the top of a hill, and then you go down to the bottom of the hill, and that is actually it's a giant studio lot with all sorts of sound stages and all sorts of like fake towns and fake sets, movie ones, westerns.
Yeah. They tell you
they
which shows all of these
the
sets
movies
have been
that were
used
filmed
in. Mm-hmm.
at these different spots. And they drive you around and they tell you about it. And
they even give you demos and actually let you be a part of things too.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. It's super fun.
So one of the things that you do when you go through is buy a little lagoon. Mm-hmm. What's in the lagoon? Jaws.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's this little, it's not a ride. He just pops up next to you.
Well, your thing shakes a little, the road you're on. And
there's a big explosion.
Yeah, there's fire and explosion. And
right.
He jumps up to get you.
He does get up and get you.
Yeah. Meg
but
or
it's
whatever.
No, not Meg.
Oh.
Jaws.
Jaws. He
Yeah.
comes. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know because I choose not to watch them.
Yes.
Because I like to scuba dive and be in the ocean, and I don't want to watch. So
Yeah. Well, different sharks,
but both killer.
but both killer sharks.
Yeah, like
Yeah. So there's no Jaws ride at Universal.
no, that would be
Hollywood.
the extent of it. Yeah.
Right. So back in the early 1980s,
Mm-hmm.
Disney decided they were going to build a new park in Orlando. They'd already had Epcot for about 10 years, and they decided they were going to build Disney MGM Studios.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I take it back, it wasn't a theme park. It was going to be essentially just a working studio with a tram ride like Universal Hollywood.
Did Universal Hollywood already exist at this time?
Yes.
Okay.
So Disneyland existed, Universal Hollywood existed, but Universal Hollywood was not a theme park. It was just the studio with a tram ride.
But the public could go on the tram ride.
Correct.
Okay, so that
It was
was
like
the
a
original
backstage-
backstage kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay,
You could go see the Psycho House and you could go see
Okay, so that
all the
was-
things.
gotcha.
So Disney was going to build something similar in Orlando.
Okay.
Well, then Universal decided, well, we're going to build a theme park in Orlando.
Mm.
And then Disney said, well, screw it. We're not going to build a tram tour. We're going to build a theme park based on our studios as well.
Mm.
And so Universal Florida and Disney's MGM theme park were built essentially the same time as rival parks,
Both in Orlando.
offering,
Mhm, okay.
kind of offering the same thing.
Interesting.
Yeah, and we could do a whole episode on that. I mean, the rivalry was pretty intense.
I'm certain it was.
But so Universal wanted to build a theme park based on movie attractions. But they'd never really done this before. But they wanted to rival Disney World, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And they needed attractions that could rival the things at Epcot and at Disneyland and Disney World. But, and Disney had recently signed a deal with Lucasfilms. So they had rights to Star Wars and Indiana Jones and all those things. So Universal didn't have the experience of making these kind of epic rides.
And Disney did.
And Disney did. And they also didn't have the franchise
That Disney did.
that Disney did.
Mm-hmm.
So they had some work ahead of them. So they hired a guy by the name of Peter Alexander to be the head of development.
It's a big job.
It is. Now, Peter was a great hire for a couple reasons. For one, he was a former Disney Imagineer.
Mm.
So he'd worked behind the scenes with Disney developing.
Why was he
Rides.
not still working for Disney?
I don't know. And maybe he was when they poached him.
Uh-huh.
But the bigger reason, or maybe not the bigger reason, but a really good another reason, was he had a college roommate that Universal was interested in getting in contact with. A man by the name of Steven Spielberg.
Oh, just want that name.
Yeah.
So his college roommate was Steven Spielberg?
And they were still good friends.
Wow.
And so they hired him. He took over. He called up his buddy. And pretty soon Spielberg was on board. So
Spielberg was on board with Universal.
So now they had a franchise
Mhm.
and they had somebody who knew how to build
Yeah,
these rides.
for sure.
So Spielberg brought in Jaws, E.T. So a lot of the original Universal Hollywood or Universal Florida rides were Spielberg movies.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So the first ride, or one of the first rides that Universal created, was Jaws the Ride. So today what we're going to talk about is Jaws the Ride.
Does Jaws the ride still exist in Universal Florida?
It does not.
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
We'll talk about that later, or we're going to talk about it. We can talk about it now,
Well, it's fine. We can wait till it's the right time.
but it doesn't matter. It's not going to affect the story at all.
No.
So it was demoed in 2012.
Oh, pretty recently.
Yeah. And
Due to
Harry Potter being a giant success. So that's where they built Harry Potter
they took.
land.
So it's not like it failed or it was a failure. It was just, hey, we need more room. This is a way bigger franchise right now.
Right.
We're going to steal Jaws.
Yeah. So Jaws was actually probably one of the most successful theme park rides of all time.
But they still chose to get rid of it.
They did. And we can talk about why some.
Oh, gosh.
It does still exist, though, in Japan. The identical ride as the Hollywood one.
Oh, do they only have one in Japan?
I don't know. I assume
Well,
in
then
Osaka.
that means I've been there.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
So if you wanted to ride the ride, you could go to Japan and ride it.
Have, then.
It's literally a copycat version of
Interesting.
the Florida one.
Okay.
So they wanted to build this ride. When they started designing it, it was one of, if not the most advanced rides ever made. Like it was.
I'm trying to imagine what you could do for this ride because you need water.
Yeah. A lot of water.
Right. And to make it seem real, you would need the people to be in the water. But I have zero recollection of the Jaws ride at Universal. Isn't that interesting? So is it like a log ride?
It's a boat ride. So it is a boat ride. People are not in the water in the ride.
No, I didn't mean like in the water, like swimming. I meant
But
just
yes, they are in the water
in a boat. But you'd still have to have a track and all the kind of things that would interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
keep going. Yeah.
So, yeah, these are all good thoughts.
Yeah.
Because these are all going to become important to our conversation.
It seems very involved.
So, like I said, it's one of the most advanced rides ever made. It opened in 1990.
Okay.
That's when Universal Florida opened.
Okay.
It used live actors,
Oh, wow.
real boats,
Oh,
and massive animatronic sharks.
shark. Yeah.
Many of them.
Many sharks.
All over the
And
ride.
live actors.
Live actors.
Huh.
And
That's
we'll get to
interesting.
that because that plays a very important part of our story here.
Okay.
So, like I said, Jaws the Ride went on to be a huge success. One
Yeah.
of the most famous, theme park rides of all time.
Interesting.
But the ride that is the beloved, if you went to YouTube and you said, show me, I want to watch Jaws the Ride. The ride that you would see and the ride that you would have ridden at Universal Japan didn't open until 1993. So the question is, what happened between 1990 when the ride opened and 1993 when the quote unquote real ride opened? The ride that everybody knows.
Maybe a lot of trial and error.
Maybe.
I mean, yeah. Maybe a lot of kinks.
A lot of kinks.
Okay.
So the initial Jaws ride was very, very different than the ride that
Everybody
remembers.
knows. Okay, interesting.
Or that what currently exists in Japan.
Okay. I gotta go look back in my pictures and see if it sparks my
Yeah,
memories.
I'd be curious.
Yeah, me too.
So Universal hired a company by the name of Ride and Show Engineering to build Jaws the Ride.
Okay.
Now, Ride and Show had done a lot of work for Disneyland.
Okay.
They built the monorails. They built multiple things. And they had actually worked quite a bit on Universal Hollywood's tram ride.
Okay.
So they hired them. The ride cost about $72 million
To build?
to build.
Holy
which is
shnikes.
a lot of money even for a ride today, but at the time it was,
Like,
well, $72 million adjusted for inflation. So it wasn't quite that much. But in today's money, $72 million. Now, this was a park that had never built rides before. So they were coming in swinging.
yeah, they were.
We're going,
Where do you get that kind of money?
well, you're a very successful studio.
Sure. So,
Speaking of which, my favorite part of Universal was definitely the tram ride, but I just love Universal monster movies. So it was fun
Oh.
to see Frankenstein.
yeah.
Frankie and I hung out for a little bit.
Yeah.
That was good.
And also there was like something on the tram ride about the Black Lagoon or blue.
The Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yeah, the
Mhm.
creature, that weird monster.
That's also one of the classic Universal monster movies.
And wasn't there another thing on the tram with a classic monster?
I can't
Was he
think
the
of any
only
other
one?
classic monster. Obviously, the Psycho House is on the tram ride,
That's not really like I mean,
which we didn't get to see on ours.
because
They were
It was
they were filming something, so they rerouted us around,
that's
so you
true.
could see it like off in the distance, but you didn't get to go by it.
That's right. They had a set there.
But we
They were
did go right through the set of that one horror movie about the aliens. Yeah, Western-y one.
It's like a newish one coming out.
Yeah,
that was interesting because they change it depending on where they're using it. So when I had been there, like maybe a year before or so, maybe a year and a half before, we did different things a year and a half later that we never did on the other one, and I didn't realize how many options there were of where
because
you
they're really
could go.
using it. Right?
Yeah, they really are using it for different sets, and I had just never really thought about that. Yeah. So every tram ride, if you go 1 week and then a week later, could be different depending on what's filming and who's filming where.
I don't think they were filming by the Psycho House, but I think they were building a set on that road or something, and so they couldn't have the trams go through. Anyways, it cost them $72 million.
That's a lot.
It was a lot of money. It was a big endeavor. So the ride starts. So they built this huge lagoon. Now I kind of find it funny. The island in Jaws is Amity Island, which is kind of funny because the Amityville Horror, which is also a big horror movie about the same time, but it was Amity Island. So in the ride, what you're doing is you're getting on this boat. It's kind of like a pontoon boat, but kind of not.
Okay.
And you're going on a tour of Amity Island. But while you're on said tour, guess what happens?
I mean, the shark comes.
You're attacked by a shark,
yeah,
right?
I mean, of course.
So you start by boarding the boat. You're taking the tour of the island. You turn around a corner. When all of a sudden you come across the boat that was in front of you, and it's sunk, and it's bloody, and
yeah.
And off in the distance you see a shark. And so the skipper driving the boat is like, "Oh no!" signaling for help, and you go and you hide in the boathouse. So you go inside this boathouse. It's dark. You're enclosed.
And the music comes.
And that's the first time you get a full shark attack.
No. I can't really do it.
Dun 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 dun. Yeah.
Dun dun.
So very terrifying because it's enclosed and it's dark and there's this big, huge
terrifying.
shark.
I just still want to know what the live actors are doing.
Well, so the live actors really more than anything are the boat drivers.
Oh, just the boat drivers.
Right.
Okay.
But they are interacting with, it's not just someone like driving a boat. They're talking, they're interacting,
right. They're kind of acting.
Playing the part. Yeah. But we'll
like
talk a little bit more. Yes, but even more so. And we'll get there in a second.
Okay.
So then you take off out of the boathouse screaming because there's this giant shark trying to attack you.
Time to get you.
You're being chased by the shark. And then there's this scene out in the lagoon where Jaws literally bites the front of the boat and swims backwards and drags the boat.
Oh.
And like shakes it like a dog with a chew toy, you know?
Oh, wow.
Which in real life, sharks can't swim backwards. So you don't have to worry about that.
Well,
but in Jaws the Ride, you do.
Yeah, of course.
This would be extremely terrifying to our children.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, Lincoln would love it.
It'd be terrifying to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know that it's fake.
Yeah. So, but this is where the ride ran into a lot of problems.
The backward swimming part?
Right. So, under the water, you have this shark, and this shark is on a massive
track,
mechanical turntable.
Okay.
Track, essentially.
Okay.
That, controls where he's going, right? Because he's not a real shark.
No way.
Now, he's like a 40-foot fake shark.
But
not a real shark. Not 40 feet. But maybe. I don't know why I said 40 feet. I don't know where that number came from. He's probably like 12 feet. But big.
Yeah.
And that's how, so once he bit the boat, quote unquote, he would drag the boat, with him. So, just for one, this is the thing that terrifies me more than anything. Think of all the mechanical parts that are right under the water.
Yeah, a lot.
Like, it looks like this serene little lagoon, but in reality, it's this giant mechanical nightmare.
It's just like a roller coaster, but underwater.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, but the other main problem was the boat wasn't actually on a track.
Okay.
So the boat was tethered to a line that was tethered to a path on the bottom of the lagoon.
Okay.
So the boat couldn't go wherever it wanted, but it could drift a fair amount left and right.
Right.
So the skipper was literally driving the boat.
Uh-huh. But also, how would the tethering not get tangled in the shark
I don't know.
mechanical track? Okay.
Smart people figure that out.
Okay.
But the skipper was controlling how fast the boat was going, how slow the boat. It wasn't like, flip a switch and now the boat's going on the track. It was an actual boat being driven by an actual person, just tethered to this underwater kind of wide path, so that it didn't get, too far off track. But this meant, like I said, that the skipper had full control of the speed of the boat. But to get the effect of the shark grabbing the boat, everything had to be done just right.
Yeah.
Like the skipper had to have the boat in the perfect spot for when the shark came out of the water. Because if you're too far away, it looks like the shark's like just choking out in the middle of the water, right? It's biting at nothing. If you get too close, the shark will literally come up underneath you
And like hit
the boat.
Yeah.
And sometimes it would actually puncture the boat.
Yeah. And then you're like sinking.
Well, I don't think it would actually sink the boat, but yes, it would cause problems to the boat. And another issue was they actually used real shark teeth in the mechanical sharks.
Oh, wow.
And so they were sharp and they were, vicious.
That's awesome that they use real shark teeth.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And so this was a major problem for the ride, just in the sense that it took a really skilled skipper you have to be a good enough driver to do all this, plus actor to play it all off. Like it was challenging, right?
Yeah.
And so, after this scene, the skipper would then drive the boat away. Once again, Jaws would leap from the water. Where the skipper would shoot a grenade launcher at it into its mouth. So, like, the shark would pop up on your left, and he would grab a grenade launcher that he had in the boat, because why not, right? And he would shoot the grenade launcher in the shark's mouth. He would go under the boat. No, really, it was two separate sharks. Like that one would go down, and a different one would come up on the other side. And then it would explode.
Wow.
And it actually exploded, like blood and shark guts up all over into the air. And then under the water was this giant, like, funnel where all the shark parts would sink and then go back down into this underwater cannon to get ready for the next.
Wow.
So obviously whatever the blood was, quote unquote, was denser than water. So that it would sink fast and get back down into that spot. But it actually did blow all these parts into the sky.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah, super cool. And then you would, yay, you're saved, and get off the boat. So that was the initial Jaws ride. Which is pretty cool. But long story short, it didn't work very often for probably lots of reasons you can come up with.
Mm-hmm.
Either the skipper was wrong. Sometimes on that big mechanical turntable, Jaws wouldn't pop up. So the skipper would be like waiting for him to come bite the boat, and he would never show up. You've got to make sure that all of his parts are filtering back through the system and shooting up again. So it wasn't working super well. Which made a lot of angry board members, since they spent $72 million on it. And, they'd have to shut it down for large chunks of time at a time and stuff. But then in July of 1990, so that same year that it opened, there was a man by the name of Anthony Salamone who boarded the boat with his sons. And they were going about it. And when they got to the part where the shark actually supposed to bite the boat, he leaned forward over the handrail to get a better look.
Oh my gosh.
And the handrail broke.
Of
and
the
he
boat.
fell face first into the water.
I hope he's okay.
Well, we'll find out.
Oh my gosh.
So after he falls into the water, guess what happens?
I don't know. The shark comes and gets him?
Well, what do you do if you fall in the water?
I mean, I swim.
You try to swim, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, the shark swims right for him.
Oh my gosh.
Now, even if you know this is a big shark,
it's still terrifying.
it's still terrifying. It's actually more terrifying because you're like, Well, it can't turn away from me. It doesn't know. Like, it's just coming on a track
Oh, that's so terrifying.
with real shark teeth.
I'm scared.
Yeah. So I'd be scared too. Now his little kids scream,
Of course.
"The shark's gonna eat daddy."
Oh my gosh. This is so terrible. Like a real life fake Jaws.
Yeah. Very traumatic.
Does he die?
Of course.
Does he really?
No.
Oh.
No. So they do have nicely planned out emergency stop buttons on
good.
the boats.
Good.
So the skipper's actually very good. He hits it instantly, shuts the ride down. Jaws stops. They grab him. They pull him into the boat.
Okay.
They actually, the other people all thought it was part of the ride. They're all like cheering and stuff.
I'm sure they did. Because they have no idea
Right.
that this is
It's a brand
terrifying.
new ride. So they pull him in the boat. He has some minor injuries, but nothing. I mean, not even like a break or anything.
Okay.
Some scrapes.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Wow.
But he does sue Universal,
Oh.
which makes sense. I mean, if you're going to have rides break and you fall into shark-infested waters.
Quote unquote.
So they settled outside of court. I don't know what it was worth. But it's scary because where he falls in is right in this giant turntable.
Exactly.
Like, the shark's one thing, but falling into like that terrifies. Like, I don't like water. I mean, the beach is fine. The ocean, I love all that. But like around dams and things like that, like terrifies the crap out of me. Like anytime that I think there might be some man-made thing underwater,
like an undercurrent or something.
like I just pump houses,
Electric beach.
electric beach. Oh my goodness, yeah. Like there's just something that just. Have we ever told that story on here?
I don't think so, but
Oh man. So, real quick side note. On Oahu in Hawaii, there's this little beach called Electric Beach. And I mean, it's little bitty, but it's very well known to the locals as like great scuba diving and snorkeling. And like there's tons of dolphins out there and stuff. But it's so popular because there's an electric plant right there on the shore, right on the beach. And so this electric plant pumps water in, uses it to generate electricity, and then pumps the heated water back out into the ocean. And because this water is warm as it comes out, it attracts a ton of fish and stuff.
well, and also the bubbles and the movement of the water and everything.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of fish always they love it. The
So
bubbles and
we went snorkeling there, and there's like these big like these big fenced off areas where the pipes come out. So you can't go in there. So we're like, that's fine. And so, I don't know, in my brain, these pipes were like, I don't know,
4 feet.
4 feet, 8 feet. I don't know. So we're out snorkeling and you don't see the pipes. It's just normal ground. And then all of a sudden, because the pipes are covered, you find out when you're out there snorkeling with just natural, like vegetation and stuff has grown on top of them. So you go, and I can see these like scuba divers ahead of us looking at something. And so you snorkel, and I turn around and look back. 2 pipes. These things got to be like 40 feet in diameter.
They're huge.
Huge. The most terrifying thing
Like
I've ever
black
seen in my
circle.
life. There's just something about it being so like
Big.
out of place and
Big.
huge. And you're underwater, and it was, don't like it.
But the fish like it.
Fish liked it.
And I liked watching the fish.
Yeah.
I could tell you were like, I do not like this.
No, I did not like it.
Yeah.
Anyway. But that was what would scare me more than anything with the Jaws thing.
Yeah,
Would be all of
the
the
mechanics.
what if my leg gets stuck in a gear? Or
Yeah.
what if, yeah.
I'm glad he didn't get hurt.
Yeah, me too. And so, yeah, he sues. Everything's fine.
Well-
As far as he goes.
But obviously they need to make changes.
But literally, that was like the worst place to fall out of the boat.
Yeah.
I mean, he was very lucky.
He is lucky, honestly.
So most of the lagoon was only 4 feet deep. But all the areas where Jaws comes out were anywhere from 10 to 40 feet deep. because they have to house all the mechanical stuff to bring up these big sharks, right? In particular, this area was the part that had the most machinery of all, because it's this moving turntable that the shark's whipping around. So very, very lucky that a jaws actually hit him, or had he got stuck in this big track. Very different story.
Well, that's why I was saying I thought maybe he died.
Yeah. No, he didn't. So you'll like that. So after this, Universal shut the ride down after just 2.5 months of being open. They did go on and they sued Ride and Show Engineering, saying that they built them a crappy ride. But it was really funny because in court, you know what Ride and Show told them?
What?
They told them, if we had built this for Disney, it would work just fine because they would have taken care of it once we were done. Which I love. Like,
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
They were like, no, we didn't build you a crappy ride. You just don't know what you're doing with it now that you have it.
Well, I mean, maybe there's some truth to that. I don't know.
And I don't know what the outcome of the lawsuit was. But they brought in a different company. And essentially for the next 2.5 years, completely revamped the ride. So that it wasn't... They became the ride that everyone knew, and the one that still exists in Japan, but not at all the same ride as what started.
Right.
So they got rid of a whole bunch of things. Jaws doesn't bite the boat anymore. He doesn't blow up into a bunch of pieces.
Oh, that would have been so cool.
He bites an electric wire instead, which I think happens at the end of Jaws 2.
So I think
He gets fried.
I think I like I would like to be one of the, for the 2.5 months, one of the people that got to ride the original ride.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that would be some claim to fame kind of thing. So, I don't know how many people that meant that got to actually ride the original.
That's how I feel about riding the Hollywood limo ride at Disney California Adventure.
Oh, yeah.
It's like the crappiest ride of all time.
But you kind of
But I got to do it. It was only open for a couple months.
Don't think I did.
And I got to ride it. And I remember thinking, this is a terrible ride. Like, why in the world is this?
Ridiculous.
Yeah. So they, like I said, they redid it. It was a super success. It was still, though, a very tricky ride to maintain.
Oh, yeah, I would imagine.
For a couple reasons. One, they ended up, the new ride was on a track, so that it couldn't move around. But it was funny. It only went in one direction. So anytime they needed to do maintenance on something, they would literally have to drive around over and over and over. If they were checking on something, because you couldn't stay in one area. And so it became very monotonous. And then I did read an interview with one of the mechanics that worked on the sharks, and they could only work on it at night, right? Because the park's open all day.
Yeah.
So they would literally have to scuba dive down these 40 feet to work on the shark underwater. And they said it would be just absolutely terrifying.
Yeah.
It's pitch black and there's just this giant mechanical shark staring at you.
Oh, I would hate it.
Yeah, me too.
Again, even though I know it's fake, even though I know all those things, it's almost maybe more freaky.
Yeah.
Night diving is actually really cool. There's a hint of scariness, but it's actually all the creatures that come out and stuff. It's actually really cool. And so, honestly, the open ocean or an open water at night, I feel like in my mind is less terrifying.
I would totally agree.
Than this lagoon with this fake shark that really nothing else can be in it.
There's just something really terrifying about man-made things underwater.
Yeah. Well, and to be a mechanic of these sharks, it's were they already certified scuba divers before? Or is that part of the job description? Hey, you want to be my shark mechanic, you have to be able to scuba dive too and fix it in the dark. That's terrible.
That's terrible. Yeah, I believe it's a real thing. Submechanophobia.
Are you being serious?
Mm-hmm.
You just made that up?
No.
Submechanophobia?
No. Fear of underwater mechanics, essentially.
Huh. Submechanophobia.
Or something like that.
Interesting. I'm sure that shark mechanics do not have that.
How many shark mechanics are there?
Well, I don't know any of the ones that
the ones that work there, you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, if they do, it's a bad job.
Well, they
choice.
can't literally do their job probably.
So. But anyway, so they did eventually decide, well, we'll get rid of it. We'll build Harry Potter.
Probably a lot easier to maintain.
So it's gone now.
Well, I wonder if they're going to get rid of the one in Japan. And now I really feel motivated. I want to see my Japanese mom and see Jaws now.
Well, let's go to Japan.
If I haven't already. I mean, I have no recollection. I probably chose not to see it, honestly, knowing me. Because I was still a certified scuba diver at that time, and I would have been even more scaredy cat probably back then.
Yeah.
Either it was closed or I chose not to ride it. I have no memory of this, but I think I would remember the shark blowing up into bits.
Well, you wouldn't because you would have never seen that ride.
But you said it's identical.
Mm-mm.
Oh, that's true.
You would have saw him get electrocuted.
Oh.
And then he just pops up out of the water all like fried. But there's no explosion.
Yeah.
There is an explosion on the new ride of like fire, kind of like.
But that's the same
ride.
as the tram. So then I don't know if my brain would actually. Yeah.
But the shark doesn't blow up.
And the thing is, you can't just go back into your digital photos because back when I lived there, that wasn't a thing. I have to actually go dig out.
If you go get into your chest.
Like my Japanese photos and see if I have any pictures. Or like my journals and like see if I wrote about it. I don't know. I have no memory.
No memory.
So.
I did think it'd be a little fun just to spend like 5 minutes. I looked up a few other bad incidents at theme parks, but where people didn't get hurt.
Thank you.
Yeah, because I knew you'd appreciate that.
I do appreciate that.
So, also at Universal Studios Florida, the E.T. ride, which also was one of the first rides.
Is it still there?
I don't know. I've never been there, so.
Yeah, me either.
But it caught on fire.
Ooh.
While people were in it. And so I think in the ride you kind of fly.
Oh, okay.
And so all these people got stuck midair on their flying bikes, but the whole thing was like filling with smoke.
Oh, wow. That's terrifying.
Yeah. So no one was hurt. They would have put it out, but that would be an interesting.
Well, even when you stop in a ride and have to be escorted out of the ride and you see the behind the scenes of the ride is interesting.
Yeah.
And that's not even anything remotely traumatic, you know? So.
When I went on my mandate with Walter. So my buddy and I, we went down to California a couple years ago to go to a concert. But since we're in California, we went to Disneyland too.
Of course. And
we got stuck inside of Space Mountain. And so they had to turn all the lights on. Normally it's in the pitch black. And so that was kind of cool to see everything inside. We were probably in there for like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And then
me and you got stuck on...
We got stuck on Big Thunder.
Big Thunder. That's right.
And had to walk off. Which was cool. We just weren't very far into it yet, we?
No, we weren't.
Yeah. For like theme park freaks that do it all the time, that's like the holy grail. Is to get stuck on a ride, so you have to walk off behind the scenes.
Sure.
Yeah.
I have had to do that with my brother, Dane, on the Indiana Jones ride. Back when we went years and years ago.
That's fun.
So I got to walk out of that one. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Six Flags Over Texas, there was on a log ride. One of the logs sank.
How?
It must have had a hole or something in it. But that'd be so funny. Like, just cruising along, and all of a sudden your boat's just going under.
Oh my God.
Those things are like 2 feet deep, right?
Oh, yeah.
My cousin and I, Maggie, when we were kids, so in Seattle, the Pacific Science Center,
okay,
there used to be a little like carnival underneath it.
Okay.
And we did a log ride, and it had no water.
I don't even know what that means.
It was like a dry log ride.
But
essentially, they just pulled you up, and it was on wheels, and you went around, and then you just went down a giant. But there's no splash or anything at the bottom.
Did they still call it a log ride?
Yeah, it was totally a log ride. There's just no water.
Was it broken?
I think so.
Oh, like
it was supposed to have
there
water.
would be water.
Sure.
Okay.
At some point in its existence, it had water.
Okay, I was like, I've never heard of a waterless log ride.
Yeah.
But I thought it was meant to be this way.
No, it was just this cheap thing. But
oh, good times.
Yeah.
Good times.
So there was another one in Cedar Point
Oh yeah.
at Halloween Weekends. There's another one here.
No.
What's the one here? What's Cedar Point's Halloween called?
Isn't that Halloween Weekends?
Is that Halloween Weekends?
So,
Yeah, because it's a Scarywood.
Scarywood, yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Halloween Weekends.
Mm-hmm.
We used to have season passes to Cedar Point.
Mm-hmm.
Great amusement park. They have an amazing Halloween.
Same thing, yeah.
Whole bunch of haunted houses and stuff.
It's awesome.
So one of the people got so scared by someone jumping out at him or whatever
Probably me.
that they tried to punch the actor, which probably happens sometimes. But the great thing about this one is they missed, tripped on a tombstone, and knocked themselves out.
Oh. That actually would be really kind of funny and sort of terrible all at the same time. If I could have been a witness, like a looker on.
Yeah, looker on her.
Yeah.
I think my favorite haunted house I've ever been to is at Cedar Point.
Yeah, they did a really good job. I
They were
remember
amazing.
the one, it was like a tube ride. Not even a tube ride, like a big, almost like Thunder Canyon size.
One of those
but
big,
they like
8-person tube
turned
rides.
it into like
A corn maze.
You walk down it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that was so terrifying.
So my favorite, they had one that was a legit like old school haunted house.
Yeah. That one was.
Because they had a bunch. They had one that was like a vampire rave party. Remember that? It was like loud and crazy.
Yeah, I did not like that.
They had a clown one, obviously.
Right.
They had a bunch of them, like 15 of them.
Yeah.
But I like the haunted house.
It was really fun.
And then another time at Universal Studios Japan, where a roller coaster got stuck at the top of a loop.
Ugh.
So everyone was hanging upside down for 2 hours.
Oh my.
They had to go in one by one with like a crane and unattach them and take them off the ride.
That's terrible.
That would be terrible.
That would be terrible.
So no one was hurt, but that would be an absolute nightmare. One time, Vienna and I got stuck on the roller coaster here on Aftershock.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a big roller coaster. It's a big steel one that drags you up vertically. So you're just like dangling straight up, and then it drops you, and you do a bunch of spinny crap. And then you go up
forward and backward.
But then you go up another big giant vertical, and you hang there, and then you do the whole thing backwards again. And it's not my favorite, but the kids like it.
You got stuck on it which way?
So when we were done, the seats wouldn't release us.
Oh, you were stuck at the end.
We were stuck at the end, on the platform. And so because it's a dangly one, like the whole floor drops, like it lowers when you're ready to go. And we were there for a while, and I already was like massive headache because I don't normally ride it, but I was nauseous. We were stuck, and then the floor dropped, and I was like, "They're gonna make us go again, like to reset it." I was like, "I can't do this again." But luckily they didn't. But they did have to come individually, like with the screwdrivers, and like unhook the back of our seats, and manually release us. So it took a little while, but that was much better than having to ride it again.
For sure.
Because that ain't my thing, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with it. I'm okay either way. I
love roller coasters, but that one.
Is it the backwards part?
I don't know. I'm too old.
Huh. I do not like the wood ones just because they literally shake my brain out of my head.
My problem with the wood ones is I don't physically fit in them. They kill my knees because I have to sit sideways because I'm too tall. And then my knees get...
Literally, my brain is coming out of my ears by the end. I cannot handle them.
That is not good to have your brains coming out of your ears.
That's how it feels. So, but I love any other roller coaster. I'm like, yeah, this is fine.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Well, cool. Well, everybody, hopefully... maybe if you ever rode Jaws, let us know.
Oh, yeah. If you rode Jaws, that would be fun to know.
That would be fun to know. So,
especially if you're a listener out there that rode the original Jaws.
You only had a 2.5 month window, so that would be super cool.
Yeah, that would be super cool if we have a listener. I mean, you'd win a prize. I'd give you a prize. I don't know what that would be, but you'd get a prize.
There you go. He's giving out prizes.
Now they're going to claim they were the one.
No.
I'm just kidding.
So, all right, everyone. We'll have a wonderful week or two until we film again and or record again. Take care, and we will talk to you soon.
Peace out.
Bye.